Hey everybody, and welcome back to Smith Party of Six. I'm Audriana Smith, and today I'm going to take you on a little tour of our homeschool room. I've had a couple people ask for an updated version. The last time that I did a homeschool room tour was back in 2019, and there's been a good bit of change around here since then. So in case you're new around here, we actually don't have a dedicated homeschool room space that is like the only thing that it's used for. We homeschool in our dining room. I will pan here to show you. So we don't have one specific set aside room that we use for homeschooling. It's kind of just taken over our dining room, but it's still really nice. We get lots of compliments on it when people come over, so it's not like something that's off-putting necessarily. I know not everybody would like to have their dining room just kind of be taken over by school, but it works out for us. So I thought I'd go ahead and give you guys a tour so that I could, maybe give you any ideas, things that might work in your homeschool room as well. So here it is in full view, our homeschooling hub, and honestly the heart of our entire home. All right, so I'll just kind of go around from place to place in the room and talk about each thing if that works out. So first of all, over on this wall, we have our chalkboard. We have a map up top of West Virginia that we'll use occasionally. We have our calendar over there, and then I always have like the date written for them up here. We've got a number line that our younger ones can use for addition and subtraction purposes to kind of help them out. Our little spelling chant, that was actually a page out of the old Good and Beautiful math that we used to use, and it worked out well with the kids, so I've just kept it. I laminated it because, of course, when you're a homeschool mom, you like to laminate everything. And we just have it hung up there with some magnets. So this is kind of like our command center area. I'll, write our scripture memory verse up here when the kids are learning a new scripture memory verse, or I have put things up here for nature study before, like the anatomy of a feather when we were starting our nature study on birds last year. So, all the homeschooly type of things will go up there. The next thing that we come to is right over here. We have one of our organizers that we use. On top, we have all of their Play-Doh stuff. Before, if you saw our previous homeschool room tour, you'll know that there was just Play-Doh in various places anywhere that I could find to put it. It was like, oh, here's some of our Play-Doh, and then we'd go on to the next place, oh, here's some of our Play-Doh, and then over by the window, here's some of our Play-Doh. So now we kind of have this nice organized stuff. I got all of that at Michael's. I don't know if you have one near you, but you can also order them online. I think that each of those was $5 maybe when I got it. I think it was on sale though. Maybe they're normally like $9, but I found them for $5, I think. So that is perfect for storing all of their Play-Doh stuff. Underneath of it, we have a lot of our art supplies. In the top drawer, we've got things like colored pencils and markers, glue sticks. Back in the back, we usually keep our hot glue gun. So just various things like that in there, but stuff that's stored easily. The next drawer down is where we do our watercolors. We have some watercolor pens, but then we also just have our usual palettes. I do want to get tubes this year as well. And in the very bottom, we have all of our acrylic paints. A few of our paintbrushes are down there too, just like certain favorites that they have, but that's not where we store most of them. You'll see that later. Then we come to our bookshelves, which are really like the focal point of the room as you walk in. These are what hold the majority of our curriculum, our papers, just every important thing that we've got basically is stored on these shelves. If you're interested in them, IKEA still has them. They're part of the Calyx system. So when it comes to the bookshelves, obviously this is where the meat of our homeschool is stored. All across the top, there are going to be lots of different chapter books that we like, not always necessarily ones that we're working on at the time, but even just ones that we enjoy. A lot of times ones that I might choose for family read alouds. all sorts of good stuff up here. So when we get to this section of the bookshelf, this second one, on top across here, I have more of like the younger kids books. First up right here, we've got our McGuffey readers and a lot of the other stuff that we use right here when they are younger than year 1 in Ambleside, or even some of the poetry is used for year 1 in Ambleside. Then I have all of our books that we ever got from The Good and the Beautiful grouped here on this part of the shelf. They've got a lot of good stuff in their library. You could check it out. And we have a little bit of overflow of more chapter books here that I couldn't fit over on that side. And then we start moving into some picture books, which we also have picture books over here on this side. A lot of these are ones that are used for year 1. So a lot of these before would have been in Arwen's cubby, which we'll get to the kids' cubbies in just a minute. But now they're up here. And then of course this shelf that I skipped, this is for all of our Bible stuff. So the kids' Bibles are up here. One of them is currently missing. This is a really awesome reference book. I've enjoyed it so far. We have their little homemade hymnals up here, just various different things. Their journals that they take sermon notes and stuff in at church. And then actually right above it too, we have Faithopedia, which we'll be using this year in some of our Bible lessons. We also have this cute little true and false game up here that a sweet lady from church passed on down to us. It used to belong to her kids. Also, just really quickly, that reminds me that I didn't really talk about much up on the top part of the shelf before we got started. So I have a basket up here that a lot of Elijah's extra projects that he'll do get put into. One of them he's working on, it's right here. It's one of like the Leonardo da Vinci sets. He studied Da Vinci last year and he really loves building things, so we got that for him. We also have our globe up here because how can you be homeschoolers without a globe? Of course you have to have one. Some of our extra paper that doesn't fit into our paper cubby, which I'll show you in a minute, is up there. And we have extra paint brushes of various kinds as well. Our plant, a sweet friend actually gave that to us before they left. It has been through a lot because my cats have a vendetta against said plant, but here it is anyways. Clock that I use for the little ones, handy dandy laminator because of course. These are some instrument sets that we got when we first started homeschooling that the kids really like. We've got different puzzles up here, books that we're borrowing from friends so that they don't get mixed up into our other collection. Another project that Elijah had finished before, our nice little felt sign that I change out occasionally. That one is from a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. And then just some really nice old books that we have that I like to display up on top with another one of our plants that our cats hate. So other than just various other cubbies of books with things that, you know, are like resources for different things that we're doing for school or things like that, then each of the kids also has 2 cubbies of their own that are specifically for their work. I shouldn't say all the kids. Aspen has 1 cubby. The rest of the kids all have 2 of them that they work out of daily. So for example, in Aspen's cubby, I'll just bend down here and show you. So this is his cubby. They all have like their own little easel that they use if we're painting with acrylic, not with watercolor. That doesn't work out too well. But when we're painting with acrylic, then they'll use these. He has his student binder, which will have like whatever his memory verses that he's working on and whatever poem is his, that sort of thing is kept in there so that that's an easy reference for us to open up whenever we get to those subjects. And then just all the different things that he's using. I have the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons over here. I haven't actually used that for him. I used it for Arwen. I was considering adding it to the things that I'm using for him, but honestly, he's doing really well learning how to read without it. And that is one that's a little more dry. If you've ever used it, then you'll know what I mean. It's not exactly the most exciting book to use. We liked it because it worked, but it's not as engaging as I'd like for it to be. So honestly, if he doesn't end up needing the extra help, we'll just keep doing what we're doing because it's clicking for him so far. But then, you know, we've got like his poetry book and Real Mother Goose stories, his Bible story book. He is obsessed with dinosaurs. So we got this one by Ken Ham and one of his other ones. And he has some more too. And then like some handwriting stuff and these handwriting blocks. So Each kid has their own cubbies that have all of their stuff that they're working from. And I just recently switched this out so that it has not the stuff from last year anymore, but all the stuff that they're gonna be using for next year too. So then here are Arwen's cubbies. I will say hers, it also has like our math base 10 blocks that we use in there and some hole punches and our pencil sharpener in hers, but that's just because she has lots of extra space. Then down here we've got various notebooks, her math, her student binder, and the one that I collect their portfolio papers in for the year is over there as well. Then we have some cubbies for various things too, like we have, like I mentioned before, our paper cubby right here so that the kids can easily reach in, get whatever type of paper that they need. So like the younger kids, their big handwriting paper is up at the top. Then we have, you know, like normal paper down below it, normal line paper, some printer type paper, and then at the bottom cardstock. We use cardstock a lot for like watercolor things that they're doing, or if they're painting in acrylic, then we like to have it nice and thick on there. We also have right next to the paper cubby, we have our pencils, pens, scissors, bookmarks, that sort of thing is all right here in this cubby, as well as some different things that we use to practice, like one of the clocks and some different flashcards and stuff like that, just so it's easy access. We can just grab it whenever we need it. And then over here on this side of the bookshelf, the two older kids have each of their cubbies. So Lexi's are right here, and then Elijah's right next to hers. And those are much more full than the younger kids' cubbies, of course. With every year, they add more stuff and they can handle more stuff too. So theirs are much more full than the younger kids' cubbies are. We also have a spot over to the side for things that we like to use for nature study. So if you have ever seen the Julia Rothman books, we have a few of those. They are super nice. We have different field guides that we can use on birds, plants, trees, all sorts of things. We, of course, have to have the Handbook of Nature Study. You can't be a Charlotte Mason homeschooler without the Handbook of Nature Study. We have a book on herbs for the kids to learn about, and we also have the game Wildcraft, which we all absolutely love. Along the bottom shelf here is honestly where a lot of curriculums go to die. They are things that I've bought and then decided not to use, or we've tried out and then decided that we didn't like. That's just with mainly the math ones. The other ones are things that we bought and just haven't used. Although there are a few things down here that we will be using, like the Wild and Free handcrafts. The girls already went through and picked out things that they want to do for handicrafts. Well, the girls and Aspen too, for next year. And then we have our big, huge atlas down here, which I don't like to keep up on higher shelves, just because it is so incredibly heavy. But if you don't have this one, you can usually find it for lower prices on something like 8 Books or Thrift Books, and it is a really, really nice atlas of the world. All kinds of maps in there. It's really cool. Editing Audriana here, popping in with a quick note. 8 Books actually does not have any of them for a good price right now. The main one that I'm seeing, the main edition, is the 29th. You can find it a little bit cheaper on Thrift Books, or I actually found the 28th edition on Amazon, so you could check that out too. Over this way on the bottom, we have some different like arts and crafts type projects for them to work on. We also have different drawing books that we'll use for their drawing lessons. We got these from The Good and the Beautiful a long time ago, and we actually really like them. This like learn to draw vintage images, and there's a few more of them too. I just don't have them down here. I think that they're in Elijah's cubby actually. He likes to use like the higher level ones. So anyways, those are really nice. Quick plug for them. You might have also noticed that on our shelves we have like different bins that are like the file folder type bins. So I originally bought one for each child because if you saw down there, I had the Tapestry of Grace curriculum for year 1, and that's one of the ways that they suggest to organize things. So I was originally going to use that last year for our history stuff, and I ended up doing Ambleside instead. really love Ambleside, so we're not switching from Ambleside. I just still have Tapestry of Grace, but I still also have those bins, and I think that I am actually going to use them this year to kind of help me organize for the rest of the year. Basically, each child will have their own bin that I have different things put in there that I want to use throughout the year for them, or different resources that I can basically rotate into their student binder that they kind of work from on a weekly basis, just so that, you know, I can have like their papers for composers and stuff like that in there, which I did this year, but I want it to feel a little bit more organized. So I think I'm actually going to use those bins this year. Woo-hoo. At the bottom of the shelf here, I have a couple of big bins. One of them I just call my teacher bin. It has various things in there that we need, but that I don't just want them always grabbing out. So those I keep specifically in my teacher bin. And the other bin over here, which is filthy, is for different types of resources that we might use during our homeschool day. So just spelling and math puzzles, wipe clean books, the little letter acorns that we've got. Aspen calls this orangey orange. I don't know why he named it that, but it's a little thing that he feeds the glass gems to and counts and that sort of thing. And our Rec and Rec, just different things that we can use, we have hiding away down in this bin. All right, so moving on from the bookshelf, then we have another organizer over here on this side, like we did the one on the other side. We have their puzzle bin over here. We also have a drawer for manipulatives up top. So we use that a lot for math, is our main thing that we use it for. So, you know, just different craft sticks, buttons that we can count with. We still have a lot of the manipulatives from the old Good and the Beautiful math stuff. Some of like the tangram type pieces, the pattern block stuff. I still have all of these that I made for Arwen when she was younger, and I use them occasionally with Aspen actually still. So anyways, all manipulative type stuff goes up there. Then we have our drawer of flashcards in here. So, you know, you've seen me use animal flashcards if you've been around here for a long time with the younger kids. We've got sight words stuff. We also have like just general math number cards and stuff like that that we use down in there too. But anyways, anything that's flashcards are in there. Next drawer down is craft supplies. This is usually a hot mess. It's not even very organized right now, and this is the most organized that it's been in like a year. So, but lots of craft supplies just kind of get thrown in there. And then at the bottom, we have our construction paper and like foam paper drawer. We usually keep our scraps. So we have those color coded by baggies. So like all the brown and tan ones are in there, and pink and purple and green and yellow. So they're all kind of organized like that. And then the whole sheets that aren't scrap pieces are down in the very bottom. So after the corner organizer, we have these big, beautiful windows over here. We do have neighbors, so you know, there's stuff that you see outside the windows there. But here on the big window bench, we have some of their other art projects. The girls have jewelry making stuff, so they keep that in all of these. Right here, we've got some paint by number stuff that they picked out from Hobby Lobby over there that they're still kind of working on. And of course, we have everything decorated for the 4th of July right now, so we've got to have the window clings out. But normally along the top where there's that string and the clothespins, we would also have their artwork hanging. We just recently took down their stuff from this past year, so that's why nothing's hanging up there right now. We need new stuff for this year now up there. Then over here past the window, I have this little organizer that they put any of the extra things that they kind of have come up with on their own that they're working on, any papers that they feel are important to them. I tell them that they go in their own little folder system. So like Elijah at the top, I just do it in age order. Elijah, Lexi, Arwen, Aspen, they all have their different stuff that's important to them. In our closet, it's not really homeschool for the most part. It's like DVDs and games for family game night and some of like our family shared Legos. Each of the kids also have their own Legos that they keep in their room for the most part. Then over on the wall, of course, we have to have a big map. This we refer to literally daily, multiple times a day, whenever we're talking about a different region in the world. A lot of times the kids will want to come up and find it on the map, as long as it, you know, still has its modern day name. Otherwise, we'll look up, okay, well, what is that now today? And then they can come and find that on the map. And last but not least, our big table, which has served us so well. You can see the various paint marks all over it. This thing is well loved. We sit and do the majority of our subjects right here at this table. A lot of times when I'm filming sit down videos, I'm sitting right here at the end of this table with the books in the background. And of course we still eat at this table, do projects at this table. So this table is basically the heart of our home, it feels like. Because we're just here so much. This is where we gather all together and do all the things. But anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that it gives you some ideas, or even just inspires you like, okay, I can totally do something like that right in my dining room. It doesn't have to be anything crazy or fancy. I don't have to have a completely separate space for everything. It works, like it can totally work. That's all I want to be able to show you. I will also be doing a video pretty soon of our curriculum picks for this year. So if you want to see that and other future videos, make sure that you subscribe and also turn on the bell notification so it lets you know whenever I upload anything new. Thanks for watching, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.